Hi everyone, welcome back for episode 509. I just wanted to show you a little bit of stash that I've bought online, and these are just gorgeous little glass beads. You don't get a lot for your money, but they're from Czech, as in CZECK, glass beads. I'll put the link below. I just thought, oh, they're just gorgeous. I'm going to use them in a project, so that project will be coming up. I also was, I guess I was watching both Margaret Miller and Rachel for the weekly challenge and thinking a lot of my stamps are quite old, and so I just thought I'll have a little look and grab a couple more stamps for tags and things like that. So I really love these because they're kind of like little postmarks and, you know, little order forms. And rather than printing out constantly like I'm doing, finding old antique ones online or printables, freebie printables, I thought these might be handy to just use ones like this on a tag. I won't take them out because they make crickly crackly noises. And here's the leaves. I thought, leaves, I love leaves, and I have got some leaves, but it's always nice to find a new variety, and I'm loving these half-eaten decayed ones because we're in autumn here, so there's a beautiful look about that. And actually LoriMarie Jenkins, if you have a look on her website, she's got a little book that she made because there's leaf cutter ants and they cut these beautiful patterns. So LoriMarie also inspired me. She's made a little book with the leaves. They're gorgeous. So there's that one. A few more stampy bits and pieces, post stamps, postmarks. They're all mark making to me, longer, thinner mark making ones. So these little stamps, if you go into Spotlight, they're, you know, they can be $11 or $12, but online, if you hunt around, you can find many shops selling the same ones, and you can find the cheapest ones. So I kind of really got this because I love these, but I also got it because I love this little jellyfish. So I think I'm thinking of a project coming up about using those, and just some numbers. I do have some die cut numbers, and I do have a Tim Holtz with numbers on, but I just thought sometimes I just want one grungy individual number. And yeah, honestly, all of these stamps, I think $3.99 or $4.99 Australia. I thought, you know, $12 and free postage, because if you get them from China, you don't have to pay too much. So when I got my French General, I also ordered this, and it's just taken a little bit of a while to come. And so it's just each of these is one little panel. So one little hoop with one picture. And I just thought that there was some gorgeous little looks. The little house with the sheep. I really liked the alphabet. I like this idea of doing this and having it up near my door. And I love this little gardening one because, of course, I love doing a little bit of gardening. And my gardener, who I've had come to do, you know, heavy duty work, like he's come and he's put in some, he's taken out a big rosemary bush and transplanted it over into the front. It's actually, unfortunately, I don't think it's taken, it's died quite off, so that's a bit of a shame. But I think this will be really nice near my back door with my patio with lots of bits. And now at the moment what we're doing at the moment is we've dug up the fake grass, he's put the weed mat down, and next Monday after this video comes out, he is putting in some pavers for a fire pit, and I've picked up some beautiful white you know, pebbles to go all around the pavers. So we're having a bit of fun with that. And look at this, that's a little bird, isn't it gorgeous? Anyway, oh, a wheelbarrow too. Oh, they're both, I think the garden ones are going to go in the same spot. I'll put a link for this as well. Now, book of the week. I don't know if I did this. I kept meaning to go and look back through my episodes and see if I'd done this Margaret Preston book. I might have only just mentioned. This one's got recipes in it. So Margaret Preston, Recipes for Food and Art by Leslie Harding. What I was most interested in was, oh, did I show it? Oh, I'm thinking I can't remember if I borrowed it and looked at it or showed it, but I want to talk a little bit about, and hopefully I can find the chapter. Here we go. So Margaret Preston, other than being a fabulous artist, is also known for kind of creating this kitchen table art. And it's very much for, you know, for women who maybe couldn't get out to a studio if they had their children at home. And so she started to do lino and woodcut and print them at home. So here's some of her ideas. So I'll get the glare off. This is 1930, so Mossman Bay. Quite fascinating. And then here's her 1920 woodcut. So, you know, there's a lot of Australian history. I love this Christmas pudding. It's a great little book, actually. A lot of Australian. So she did do, obviously, a lot of oil on canvas. So there she is. So obviously 1920s and 30s. It's a sketch, beautiful sketch. Another woodcut. Travelled a lot. So 1927, she's able to have her work on the front of an Art in Australia magazine. And these are definitely not, you know, they're not complex, but yet they are. Here's another one of her woodcuts. And the reason that I'm showing this is because I really definitely want to do a little bit more on that. I haven't done the jelly plate still. I realised I think I've been in a transitional period, and this is what happens for me. Mikey's moving out, and we just had such a lovely, peaceful existence in this house together. And so I'm feeling the loss after having the loss of Amelia and my relationship last year and my daughter moving. So I'm actually have been having a little bit of a quiet time to myself, where I'm just feeling a lot the loss of losing someone that's been such a harmonious housemate. So I don't know if I think I've just been sitting embroidering in quiet, because that's what you do sometimes. So she's obviously got work on the front of Home magazine, which is why there's the, you know, I just love it. I love the book. It's like, oh, you know, there's the Tuscan Adventures in Tuscany, or Tuscan Adventures, or A Home in Tuscany. I can't remember the name, but that beautiful book that came out where a lady in America bought a Tuscan house and started to do it up, but it's peppered with these gorgeous recipes. It's just, I love it. I love it. More woodcuts. So I love the way that that she's sort of known for this kitchen table woodcut things. And yeah, it's gone out into a cooking magazine and it's linked to food, and oh, it's just, isn't it wonderful? Oh, here we go, more woodcuts. These flowers are amazing. Sort of Sydney, a lot in Sydney. It's called wheelflower, this name, but they're actually called, we call them in Melbourne, I think we call them fire wheels, because they're a very solid red. And if they're flowering, it's just, you know, it's just beautiful. So it's Australian. I'm assuming it's an Australian native, but I haven't seen them anywhere else in the world. You can correct me on that if you know more. Lovely Banksias. Okay, so here is what I'm talking about. Have no studio, have no anything. Here's a little tiny table. You can still cut a wood block. You can still print it up in your kitchen. Her materials. So here's a wood block. So you can see the carving marks. I hope you can. I'll do a zoom in on this because you can see the carving marks on the background. And the beautiful old wood carving chisels, or they're similar lino cut tools. They're all a bit similar. And the roller for the ink. How good is it? Oh, this is a beautiful flower too. So it's really lovely to look through and see all these natives. Native fuchsia, gorgeous. Fuchsia is one of my favourite. Oh, actually, so Roxy's Journal of Stitching, I was going, oh, I've got so many flowers on my thing. I don't even know. So I'm segueing again. Can't keep on topic to save myself. I've got so many varieties. I've got my little sort of bottle brush looking thing, which I love. I've got the little tiny sort of, honestly, favourite for me is a field of wildflowers. So here's my update on my Roxy's. And all I've done is kind of a sort of a echinacea style. That's what I've done. I don't know what to do for favourite flower because I love lots of them. And I had already done sort of, these are also a bit echinacea-like. So I agree with Rachel. I love this design of the petals underneath with the sort of the middle stamens in there. So I don't know. I think I'm still thinking about it. I'm still thinking about what to add. And I loved these little flowers. I loved these little creative ones. I don't know. I know there's 2 more prompts left. So I think this week what I might work on is filling more wildflowers up around through here. I know I said I was going to do that and I haven't. But I've been busy working on my French General. That's what I've been mainly doing, which I will show you after I've just gone through a little bit more of this book. All right, so then we move into her flower arrangement phase. So these are mostly oils. I don't know if she did wood blocks of the flower arrangements. Beautiful hibiscus. So isn't this a gorgeous little book? It's just like, it's got a bit of everything, you know, like you can enjoy looking at the pictures, but then you get a recipe or 2 through it. And yeah, I was looking at that lobster recipe and thinking, oh, I think I'd like to do that. So something Mikey showed me was how to break open a Moreton Bay bug and how to cook it with butter. So I've learnt that while he was here, which is good. Right, these are very linear. They're very architectural for her style. But every artist, Every artist goes through a journey, always. Life is the journey, and as an artist, you try new things, you move into another phase, you get sick of things. That's what happens. Oh, look at that. Coral flowers. Coffee spice cake with mocha filling. Oh, I feel like making a cake. French scone or tea cake. Ooh. Alright, so more oil on canvases. I kind of really wanted to feature her to segue into my jelly plate making, because I really think I might want to make a lino print as well. However, like I said, transitional times, don't always get a lot done. Rock lily, beautiful. Another woodcut. Woodcutting is quite hard on the hands. As I've said before, I do have carpal tunnel, and it's a little bit hard for you know, carving things. And as I said, I could only do sort of 1 or 2 rows of knitting a day, but you know, lino cutting can be a bit easier if you've got they've got a much more softer lino now. Like the old lino was quite hard, but they've created much softer and easier silk lino cut, I think it might be called. I'll have a look. But yeah, look at this, out in the garden having a paint. Why not? Plein air, it's called when you're outside painting. Another oil. Yet another slightly different style. So we've moved into the World War II era. I was doing a lot of browns, like this is called Grey Day in ranges. So this is the 40s. The 40s. Definitely using a particular colour palette all the way through. But you know, it's possibly World War II. I mean, you know, it was the start of the Depression. Maybe it was harder to get paints. I haven't read the book. I like this book so much, I might buy it actually, just for the recipes. Okay, controversial. So here's a very old car with a bed, so it's like the precursor to a ute in a way. So it's got the engine, but it's got all the Indigenous Australian children. And I don't know the story of this photo, but I often see photos like this and all I can think of is missionaries stealing the children. So I don't know what that's about. But that's 1947 in the Northern Territory. She's obviously looking at Aboriginal designs through here. So from a perspective of art history, it's quite interesting. From a perspective of Indigenous Australian history, you could start to question if she's taking other people's work and recopying it or not. I mean, I don't think that her intent would be like that. She just wanted to bring Aboriginal art to modern art and design. But who knows? I mean, we know so much more now than we did back then. Australia's quite a young country in terms of white population. Obviously one of the oldest populations in terms of their Indigenous culture. But see, even this is very, you know, it's like using a lot of Indigenous you know, shields, patterning, design. Mosman Hotel, this is 1954. Still using the brown palettes, but she's got this ochre added in. That could be part of having time to mix in, you know, looking at the earthen colours in Outback. I haven't read it, so I may be misquoting some things or just making assumptions, but this is an interesting one. 1953, very long career. Very interesting. and she died in 1963. So a fascinating person, always really quite interested in this idea of how you can still make art regardless of where you are, what you're doing, whether you've got nothing to draw from, minimal materials. So she's been a little bit of a hero for me in terms of that concept of, if you're stuck at home with the kids, you can still make art that's your art, not your children's art. So anyway, I hope you found that book interesting. I think I might have a bit more of a read, so I'm a bit more informed about her times with the Indigenous children and people. Now I just thought I'd do an update on my French General. So here is where I'm up to now. I've got this whole row's done. This whole row just needs one more panel. This whole row needs one more panel, and this last row has got 1, 2, 3 panels still to be done. At the moment I'm working on this one. I left the more densely filled one till a bit later. I wasn't sure how I was going to approach it. So what I've done is a back stitch on every single one all across. So I've gone across this way from this corner to this corner. And now that I'm coming back, I wanted to use a contrasting colour, and I'm just turn it upside down. So I've been turning it upside down to work it. And I've brought in another colour that I haven't used before. It's very similar, like some of these are quite close together. See, but one's just a bit more peach and one's a bit more pink. Same with this. It's just that bit more brown than that peach colour in there in the crosses. And I started thinking I would do exactly the same, but it's turned out that I'm having to come in just before that stitch, both ends, and just fill it in between. So I'm still doing a back stitch. See if I can get that close. Still a back stitch, but it's just like a little hint of the colour across. So this has been the most time consuming one on this panel, which is okay if you're happy to sit there and listen to some music or something like that. I found it was a little difficult to watch a show or anything on TV with this one, because you had to make sure you were looking at it. It's like knitting a complex pattern, and make sure you're looking at it. So I've had some thoughts about this French General. I was thinking I was going to just fold it all up, stitch it together and make it into a book. What I've noticed is some of these little edges are quite close, because another idea I had was cutting every single square out to put onto a background. But this is what I'm noticing, that some of these are very close. And I thought it's probably designed to be a cushion cover or something like that. But I think I'm going to go through and work out what I can. Maybe I can manage to cut down and cut them into sets of 2 somehow, or sets of 4, and then create, you know, like a little, oh dear, I just lost half my beads. And create another little book like this, so they're inside. So like my little 3 to 5 book. Because I can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages if I do them 4 by 4. And I just thought it would, I really felt like I'd enjoy seeing them in the middle of a page, you know, like in the middle of a page like that. but with lace around the outside. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, so that's where I'm up to with all those projects. I would have liked, I find, I don't know about anyone else, but I find that the week comes around really quickly. I'm like, have I done enough to show you? But I have been working, and this is filled. That took ages. So another thing I'm looking at is this weekly challenge. So we had a week where we made these, and they were just fairly simple, a little pocket, and I'm up to the week where we now are making a whole new batch, and this is probably the week before, actually it's probably 2 weeks ago now by the time you see this. We're making a new batch with like more little booklets inside, so I've got them ready to go. And I just wanted to share this. So there is a Facebook group in Australia which has free printables. I had the name and I've not, but the free printables I'll put here on the screen, and then you can go and look down below for the link. But sometimes there's some lovely little printables, and I thought for my new little books with Rachel that I'd print one of these out, and it's like pages. So I've got a few pages, you know, for those of us who want to just print out something free off the internet. A few pages off the Graphics Fairy, where I've just printed out some of these sorts of things to put onto my little book. So I'm in the process of cutting these out. I just went and looked flowers up under the Graphics Fairy, and then I printed up 6 up, so I had them ready to go. I looked up birds on the Graphic Fairy, so I've got a few little ones of these, and I've cut out, so once again printing them 4 or 6 up and then cutting them out. So there's quite a few nice little birds I can put on some of these things for weekly challenge. That's it for this week, and I hope you enjoyed it. I feel like I'm doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff still and not pumping out a huge amount of content. I'm aware that it's partly that I got a new setup, and it's not actually, to be honest, it's not working for me as easily. I do like to edit my videos. I can't just talk all the way through and upload it daily. It just doesn't work for me. But my new setup doesn't also. It's just not easy. I have to upload to the iPad. It's not as easy to edit on than I was hoping it would be. You know, I just preferred the iMac with the big screen. But anyway, I'm not complaining about that. I'm grateful I can do it. I'm just aware that I'd like to be doing a little bit more. However, that's how it is. So thank you for watching and joining me, and I'll see you in the next one, and I hope you have a great week. Bye for now.